So I read over your form, Finn, German Shepherd,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and you moved from Texas, and in Texas, I guess you just go running with him, and then you moved to Chicago, and then he started displaying reactivity, or
So I adopted Finn when he was 3.5, and now he's going to be 8 in September. So I've had him for a while, and he's been reactive the whole time.
okay,
When I first got him, we did some positive reinforcement training in Texas, and that worked pretty well for us. Then, I mean, he was still reactive, but in Texas, there's a lot more room.
yeah,
So
for sure.
all of the houses are like further apart. I didn't live downtown in the city.
Mm,
And so it was easier for us to avoid those situations.
sure.
And now, I mean, I just moved a couple weeks ago and it has been a nightmare.
What part of the city are you in again?
I'm in like the Ukrainian village area.
Oh, sure, yeah, I know the area.
Yeah, so there's just dogs everywhere. It's just a challenge.
And what do you walk him on now?
I have a prong collar, a Springer prong collar.
Okay.
He's pretty much been on that since I got him. We always use those. My mom always had Belgian Shepherds.
Sure.
So we always had them on prong collars. So that's kind of just what I'm used to.
Did you use that in conjunction with the positive reinforcement, or?
So, yeah, I guess that is kind of contradictory. So, yes.
Okay, that's fine.
But I'm not very good at giving corrections to
Sure.
bad behavior. That's something that I really need to work on. I'm just like a little too soft on it.
Okay. Is it like have you ever given him a good correction? Like, let's say he just frustrated you and you're like, okay, today is the day, you know? And
I
then
actually did that
it
this morning, and I gave him a good correction, and he like whimpered, which like broke me a little bit. I know that's okay. But then he was more attentive to me, and would like look at me for direction more.
Yeah.
So I think that that's what I needed to be doing the whole time. I've just never really I wasn't taught that way when I did the training in Texas. They never taught me to do corrections. I don't really know how to do them very well.
Okay, no, that's fine. So like, you got the shepherd, you got the prong, and then you started the training, and did they just not comment on it? Like, oh, you have a prong, or did they make you like not use it while you train?
They made me not use it. So I used a harness, and like used a front clip harness for the pulling.
Sure.
Which he just pulls completely through, and sometimes he'll just pull through the prong collar too. Like he just doesn't care.
For sure. All right, so we have the reactivity. So obviously you want to get that resolved.
Mm-hmm.
What else are you needing? And I saw that you want to go running with him again. What else are you needing, Finn, to be able to do for you?
He, otherwise, other than the leash reactivity, is a great dog. Like, he does not bite. He doesn't have accidents in the house. He gets along really well with all other dogs when he's not on the leash.
Ah, gotcha.
It's just on the leash. And when I did training in Texas, they were kind of like, oh, he just gets so excited because he likes to be with other dogs that he, has this. I mean, I don't know how true that is. I'm not a dog trainer. I don't know, but that's kind of what they told me. But I mean, he has puppy play dates with tons of other dogs and there's never been one problem.
Gotcha. Yeah, so reactivity doesn't always mean aggression. It can be frustration, or it could be like a temper tantrum, like a kid saying, give me that toy, but he's like, I want to play with those dogs.
Yeah.
Now, when a dog is in that state, like even though Finn is friendly off leash, but if he goes into a state of reactivity and he's agitated, if you present him to another dog, possibly while
Right.
he's in that state, you'll see it escalate.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but doesn't make him aggressive.
Right.
So that's not uncommon.
Okay.
Okay.
And when he is in that state where he's all worked up, then he looks to other people to be aggressive. And I know that he looks that way. He'll lunge and
Oh, sure, sure.
snap and does all the things that, so other people, like, I've only been here 2 weeks and people have started like crossing the street when they see, it's just like a big mess.
Sure. Which, right now with social distancing, that's not so bad, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Get as far away from me as possible. What about like general recall or come when called?
He's not great, but he's not awful. Definitely, I mean, when there's no other distractions, he's pretty good. But like, take him outside and like he's listening to anything, and yeah, no.
He's gone. Okay. Anything else about Finn I should know?
I don't think so. I'm trying to think. I was trying to brainstorm all of the things that are wrong. No, I think that's, I mean, the main thing that is the leash reactivity.
Okay, yeah. When I looked on your form, it was pretty simple. Okay, so before reaching out, did you do any research on me? Like at least read up on me?
I did. I actually did quite a bit of research, and I understand that you are like a prong collar, e-collar. That's kind of how you train. So I guess I haven't really heard anything about e-collars. I've done a little bit of research, but I guess that's kind of my main hesitation, because I've never had a dog that needed an e-collar or used one on a dog. So
sure. So I'll clear all that up for you. And you're a medical doctor, correct?
mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you ever come across a TENS unit?
Yeah.
That's an e-collar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's not, I mean, TENS units aren't painful to humans. So
Right.
is it more of like the vibration, or is it supposed to like hurt them?
So it's a good question. With how do you say? So it's a muscle contraction, right? So it's I tell people it's electric, not electricity.
Okay.
So you're not tasing your dog. You're not. It's not like touching an electric wire. It's centralized to where the 2 points are making contact, similar to like a TENS unit. It's moving those muscles. He feels nothing anywhere else. Okay, fully waterproof, and in my opinion, it's more refined than a TENS unit.
Okay.
Okay, and on that front, for a human, when they're applying it, they'll say, tell us when this becomes too much. And then, they'll dial it up, and the person goes, oh, like right there, that's too much. They dial it down, and they let the machine continue to work in order to move muscles.
Okay.
Very similar to dogs, okay? We start low, we work our way up, okay? So my collars go up to 127.
Okay.
Cheaper brands, for example, go to 10. And the difference is I have 127 and 10 are the same, but I have 117 more breaks.
Okay.
So it's much more fine-tuned, okay? So I got to find the number that works for Finn.
So I'm sorry, can I just, so you're saying that 127 on one collar and the 10 on the other collar are the same amount of TENS unit force?
Correct.
But you just have more, like you can scale it more.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So the problem with those 1 to 10 collars, some go 1 to 5, is the dog will be yelping on 3 and then not listening to 2.
Okay.
Now you're stuck, right?
Yeah.
So with the brand that I use, Dogtra, I think in my opinion, it's the best brand. It's very fine tuned. So 40's too low, 50's too high, 45 right in the middle, and I can go 46, 47. Like I can really dial in.
Okay.
And so we start low, we work our way up. Finn tells me what's appropriate to him. Okay, so people tend to think when we put a prong or an e-collar on a dog that it's kind come in and just like yank them all over the place, or press a button and make them yell, right? That was old school yank and crank training. Training's come a long way since those days.
Okay.
And it's come a long way even in the past, I want to say like 10 years. Like when I started my career in dog training, things really started shifting a lot, and there were better training like theories and all that stuff. So the difference here is every dog is like, just like a human is different. I don't know what Finn's number is. His size, his breed, his personality. Like I've had dogs that'll be super insecure, and the owner would think, oh, like you're gonna be super low on the collar, and they're actually high.
Okay.
And I get dogs that are seemingly really tough on the prong collar, and they're super soft on the e-collar.
Okay.
Okay, so that's why we start low, and we work our way up.
Okay.
So we have the obedience aspect, and then we have the behavior aspect. Okay, so when I see reactivity, again, most people think I come in, let's go look for dogs. Oh, your dog's being bad. Let's zap, zap, zap. And that's incorrect. Okay. The first thing I do is teach him how to walk correctly. So if I take one step, he takes one step. If I take 5 steps, he takes 5 steps. When I stop, he automatically sits.
Okay.
And this is with a completely slack leash, no tension. Okay. And I don't care what the environment is. I don't care if there's people walking around with their kids and dogs and stuff. That's the level of attention that I want.
Okay.
So the theory is, if the dog is more attentive or worried about me, then he's not going to care about the dog walking past him.
Right.
Okay, because he's got discipline in his brain now, and he's thinking, well, I could lunge, but I'm being remoted or disciplined for just not following my owner. So I don't even want to mess with that. Okay, that's like the human explanation of what the dog's thinking. Okay. In some cases, no matter how well trained the dog is obedience-wise, behaviorally, they'll still exhibit the reactivity. And it's because whether it's the stressor of the dog, it's or just for the dog itself, rewarding enough for them to say, you know what, screw the obedience, I want to bark at this dog because it's fun. Yeah. They're going to do it, right? So then it comes in as a consequence. Okay, so when we talk about behavior, obedience is unnatural to dogs, so it's something that we have to teach them to do. He wasn't born to like sit and lay down and come to me and all that stuff, right? He's meant to be free, peeing, pooping, chewing on stuff, mating, and all that other doggy, natural lifestyle. Yeah. When it comes to behavior, dogs are very cut and dry. They're very black and white. Okay, so like, let's say Finn was exhibiting that behavior and he ran up to a dog, like he got off the leash, ran up to a dog, and he barked in that dog's face. That dog now has an option and might just bite the crap out of Finn and goes, you don't charge me and you don't bark in my face like that. That's disrespectful, and here's a lesson, right? And then Finn has a chance to respond and go, you know what, I screwed up, my bad, and leave. Or he goes, you know what, screw you, let's take it to the next level. And then it just goes back and forth, right? So dogs are physical animals. When they have a boundary, they don't teach things like humans do. Like I was raised like, you don't take things that aren't yours, don't touch that. These are mommy's things, stuff like that. It was explained to me, but if it was something I didn't know, depending on what it was, like I wasn't corrected for it, right? Because I was a small little kid. I was ignorant of it. Dogs don't do that. If Finn does something to another dog, and like even just like getting too close, that dog might just bite him and say, no, don't do that to me.
Right.
There's no explanation. There is no, oh, please, could you give me space, give me 6 feet. Like right. It's like, no, you get this close, I'm going to bite you. Right. Okay. So when it comes to behavior, if we already have the obedience down and Finn's being reactive, then I go, okay, well, this didn't work. So now he just needs consequence to tell him like, your behavior is unacceptable. Okay. Now, it could be a low consequence. It could be a very high consequence. Every dog is different, but that's why we do the structure first. Learn more about Finn. De-escalate him a bit so he's not so intense, so that ideally we're not having to be super high to correct him. It's much more direct and like appropriate to him. But at the end of the day, if I turn a corner and then there's a dog and he blows up, I'm just like, you're gonna cut the crap right now.
Yeah.
Right? That I don't worry about thinking about it too much because it's not gonna screw him up.
Okay.
He's not gonna get traumatized. He's not psychologically.
I'm a little worried because just doing research on, positive versus like correct, I'm worried that if he has, and dogs probably don't work this way, if he has a really severe consequence, is he going to become more reactive because he had this negative experience with another dog on a leash?
In my opinion, the only way that happens is because it wasn't appropriate enough. Okay. So like, for example, let's say, so the way it works is, let's say I have Finn and a dog comes by and I'm like, crap, day one, right? But I don't want him to be, I'm going to address it right away. Because that's how dogs are. Like, if I ignore a few things too much or things too much in the beginning, he learns like, oh, Jesse, nah, he's a wuss. He's not that strict, right? So right away when I come in, my rules are setting into place, right? So if I were to see a dog as I work with him and I just started working with them, I'm not worried because it's behavior. It's all about consequence, right? Okay. So 10, 20, 30, 40, and I'm going up and going up. And maybe that dog passes and I get to 80 and he's going off and it doesn't stop him and seemingly he's gotten worse and the dog passes. I just go, okay, up to 80 is not enough.
Okay.
I still have 81 through 127.
Okay.
Right. So typically, because people feel bad, when they get in those realms, they get insecure.
Yeah.
And anxiety, nervousness. Am I going to screw my dog up? Oh my God! Like we're really close. I don't want my dog to get to them. Like a lot of stuff goes in their mind. That they cut themselves short. Okay, and I actually have a client right now that I'm working with. They have a little small guy. His number is about 5 to 8, and we're working on reactivity. And I saw them last week. And I go, how was it? They're like, oh, good. Had a couple of moments. I'm like, all right, well, what's the highest you went? 8. I'm like, well, how come you haven't gone higher? Because they have to get comfortable with it.
Right.
They're doing it themselves. So I understand. I don't push people too fast because I don't want to discourage them.
Right.
But at some point, logic kicks in. I'm like, if you've tried up to 8 and it's still not working, then why are we still at 8?
Right.
Right.
And I understand that. And I mean, I'm kind of at the point where I'm so nervous to take him out that I'm not, like, I take him out like 3 times. I mean, I would like to go on walks with him. Like my goal, if we're going to talk about goals, my goals are, I would like to be able to walk him.
Right.
Without being nervous.
Yeah, for sure.
That I'm going to fall because he's 55 pounds of muscle. He's not chunky. I would like, that's my main goal for this.
For sure.
And I've done the positive reinforcement, and at a point he won't take food. And so it's just that's kind of where I'm at. And
with positive reinforcement, positive reinforcement is good for things you want to see again.
Right.
Okay. So it's terrible at stopping things. That's what aversives are for. So like I was raised old school. I was spanked.
Yeah.
Right. If I didn't do my homework, if I didn't do my chores, or if I talked back to my mom, spank, spank, spank. One consequence for a multitude of things. Right. And if I brought home good grades, my mom might have taken me out with my friends and like we would have had some like a nice time at Dairy Queen as an incentive, as positive reinforcement. Right. And dogs in the wild don't give each other treats.
Yeah.
Okay, like the mom doesn't say good puppies.
Yeah.
There's a treat, right? And if you go on YouTube and you look up like moms correcting their puppies, like it's pretty harsh. The puppies, like they'll bite the puppy and the puppy runs away yelping, but that's how they handle things.
Right.
So it's really like your prong collar. I like that you have a prong collar, but unfortunately, it does require a bit more technical skill.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to correct correctly, it's another problem. And then let's say even if you did know how to correct correctly and you gave him a 10, which is your harshest correction, and he's at a 15,
Then he's not
you're stuck. And it's super common. Okay. I've had like at least 2 consultations where the person with their dog's on a prong collar and it's ineffective because they're so intense.
Yeah.
So e-collar,
like there have been multiple times where I'll be holding him. He will fall down because he's all like he's just completely gone. Like fall hard and get up and just continue to do it. He just like I'm like, I don't even know. And I know that I'm too soft on him. And that's where I need you.
yeah. Well, I mean, I can help the dog, but I can't, make you a hard ass.
I know.
That's something that comes with time. But what I love about e-collars, it takes away that confrontation. Like you don't have to worry about the intensity of yanking, right? Because it's at the press of a button.
Right.
There's a disconnect there. Where you're like logically, like you're higher, but you don't have the physicality of like yanking your dog. Plus, humans get frustrated when things become physical, and it comes through the correction, and the remote removes all that stuff. Because even if you're pissed off, 75 when you're pissed off and 75 when you're calm and relaxed is 75, right? That's not going to change. So, and also, so the whole reason why we've been recording everything is COVID, but also like to educate people. And so I have complete uncut training videos on my YouTube channel, so you can see it in process. Like, oh, like here's Jesse working with 10 different dogs on e-collar, completely uncut, beginning to end, and it's very effective. And it's not what I think it is. Okay. So for Finn, I hope I'm not, because I swear, like anytime I say a case is easy, the dog's like, screw you, man. I'm gonna teach you easy. This is pretty simple standard stuff. The fact that you said he's fine off leash is like a big plus.
Yeah.
Okay, because to me it's either he's being a brat, he's throwing a temper tantrum, or he's frustrated because he doesn't have formal training.
Yeah.
So the prong is good. The front clip harness is terrible.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got rid of that. Positive reinforcement doesn't work here because if stress levels go too high, like he's not going to care about food. Yeah. Like if I'm in a burning building, I'm not going to grab a brownie. Just want to get out. Like logically, that's why I always refer to humans, because we understand our world, right? Yeah. But that's literally what's going on. Like in his mind, if he's stressed out and he's in a burning building, he's like, screw your turkey.
Yeah.
Right? Like for whatever reason. Like if he perceives threat, or if he's just throwing a tantrum, he's like, well, I don't want that, I want that. It's like a kid. They want one toy, and you're like, well, how about this toy? Like, no, I don't want that toy, I want that one.
That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah. So the way I would approach this, you're wanting to do a board and train, is it?
Well, my issue is especially right now, my schedule is crazy. Mm-hmm. Would I prefer to do it in person so that I know that I'm doing things correctly on my end? Probably. I don't think that's super feasible for me. Mm-hmm. So can you tell me more about how I read on your website, and I've seen a couple of these Zoom videos where you talk to people about it, but can you just educate me a little bit on how that, like the pros and cons of each, and which one do you think he needs? And
okay. So for the board and train, the pro is we get done what you're wanting done faster.
Okay.
A con is the training's associated to us. Okay. So we have to transfer the training to you. Okay. Which is why I have so much, how would you say, in my opinion, with my program, there's far more follow-up with the board and trains than there are in comparison to other facilities.
Okay.
Okay. So like I've had people do a 2-week board and train and get a half an hour with the trainer at the facility on pickup, and then maybe another hour, half an hour at their home later on. Okay. Okay. Now, ideally, if we're doing a board and train, the owner would come once a week.
Right.
Okay. If possible, it's not necessary, but if possible. where we work with the dog so they learn as the dog's learning. And then on the final pickup, so like if you did a 2-week board and train, for example, after 7 days, you'd come in for, we'd meet for an hour. It's hands-on. I'm coaching through everything. This is how it works. This is what we did, blah, blah, blah. We take him back, come back week 2, the final day, he's done. It's a 2-hour lesson.
Okay.
Okay. So it's like a real complete rundown. And then with the follow-ups for the 2-week, I believe it's 3 1-hour in-person follow-ups. Okay. So it's essentially the number of weeks plus 1 is what you get in for follow-up.
And that's at my apartment, or my, you come to me, or do we meet at a park, or how does that work?
We've been meeting at Oz Park because everything is there. There's bikes, skateboarders, scooters, kids, strollers, dogs, baseball games. It's busy. Okay. So it's, if you can do Oz Park, I tell everybody, like everywhere else is easy peasy. Okay. And so if you need the follow-up, you would schedule it as needed. Okay. With all the board and trains that we've had, no one's needed a follow-up.
Okay.
Okay. They did, of course, the training that we provided with the program, but when it came to the after the program follow-up, so far we haven't, like, nobody's needed anything.
So you mean like after those 3 1-hour sessions that are?
No, after like, yeah. So like, they came for the weekly visits, and then they still have their follow-ups. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the pro is we get done what you need done shorter time. Okay. Because we work, we open at 7 and we close at 7, and your dog is working all that time. Okay. We do a lot of duration work. We take the dogs out to Home Depot, PetSmart, walking. So we do an hour pack walk every day. We do the training outside in the real world where it's going to be applicable. If he's not playing, then he's resting, and we do duration work where he has to sit still for like, a couple of hours in between his shifts, his training shift and his playing shift and all that stuff. So it's a lot of structure. Okay. So we don't ease them into it. It's boot camp. Right. Okay. A pro is, again, most places, if you do a board and train, they'll do like 3 30-minute sessions a day with the dog, whereas we're all day. Okay. The pro to in-person is that you're doing all the work. I coach you verbally. I don't touch the dog currently. And you're learning all the nuances. So you're more educated. Okay. You're learning how it works and why it works. Okay. And if your dog is having an issue, I'm helping you work through it so that you retain more. Okay. The con, it takes longer.
Okay.
So I would equate like a 6-week in-person program to like a 2-week board and train. Okay. And then like a 9-week program would be like a 3-week board and train. And then my 12-week program, which is full off-leash training, is my 4-week program. Okay. You're in the range of the 2-week or the 6-week in person.
Okay.
Okay. Pro in person is cheaper. Con of board and trains is they're more expensive.
Right.
Let me think here. A con of board and train is you don't see the work, so that again, there's not that understanding. Yeah. I explain it, but it's different when when you drop your dog off one way and you pick him up another way. It's kind of like, wow, and then I explain it to you and it's like, okay. But when you're doing it and I'm talking you through like a scenario where maybe he's lunging at a dog and we resolve it, and you go, oh wow, like that, I get it now, right? In your case, I would think a con would be if he's here and we find out, Finn needs 85 to cut the crap when he's being reactive. And then we give him to you. We're like, hey, by the way, his number is 85.
Right.
you're going to have a hard time just jumping to 85.
Right.
So with the couple I have now, that's with the reactive dog, I'm working their comfort throughout that program, which is a different kind of aspect of dog training that people don't really think about, is that I understand there's guilt. I understand there's the logic of like, well, this behavior isn't that bad. Why does my dog need 40? Right? But I'm like, because that's what your dog needs. Not every dog needs that, but your dog does. So then it's getting them comfortable and understanding enough where they get to the point where it's like, okay, I understand. My dog needs 85. So here it is. They've seen the process and they've seen us
Right.
do every other option before they go, we get it. They didn't work.
Yeah.
So here we are.
I have a couple, as you're talking, is it okay if I interrupt you and ask a couple of questions?
Mm-hmm.
So he's like older. I mean, he's going to be 8.
Yeah.
The whole like, can't teach old dogs new tricks. I mean, I know that that's not true, but can I expect him to be walkable after this?
Yes.
Okay.
If you're willing to do or follow through, you got to do the homework, you got to follow through.
Right.
Okay. The fact that he's 8 doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because consequence is consequence.
Right.
So it's just a matter of, if he's been doing this for 4 years with you, you're going against 4 years of a practice habit that he's gotten away with you.
Yeah.
Right. So when we get dogs here, like within, if not the first day, by the second day, 180.
Yeah.
Because it's boot camp. So it makes it easier for us because the dog doesn't know anything different of us. But for you, he's going to go, Mom's let me get away with this for 4 years. And now she wants to stop me?
Right.
Whatever, right? So the other question?
And then with my work schedule, I want to be able to take him to daycare.
Oh,
And
sure.
he does, and I need a very specific daycare that is open the hours that I work, which can be extra long. So will this affect any of his behavior with other dogs when he's off the leash? I mean, okay, it shouldn't.
Yeah. Because how do you say? It's a context, unless, for instance, let's say he's on a leash, he sees a dog, and you have to correct him. And let's say it's a harsh correction, because that's like worst case scenario. He cuts the crap. And then you take him off the leash to greet that dog, because it's staying within that context of I just got a harsh correction, and now that dog's coming. He might be a little tentative, I wouldn't, how do you say, expect to see anything. He'd probably be tense and then kind of like realize, oh, no biggie, and let it go. But if like you're correcting him as he sees all these other dogs, which ideally by the point that you get him, or once you cross a certain, how do you say, a certain like hump, the idea here is that he's so well trained that you're not having to correct them all the time.
Right.
Right. Maybe once in a blue moon, like if a dog comes out of nowhere and you're like caught off guard, or like, something spooks him and he decides to try to run away real quick, like sudden things that you can't plan for.
Right.
And to be realistic, like let's say he's great for, 8 months, and then one day like he barks at a dog. A lot of people go like, oh my God, Jesse, my dog barked at a dog after 8 months of like great progress. I'm like, that's pretty damn good. Your dog used to bark every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think about, because I've had clients, I had one lady, I remember the first 6 weeks of her training were awesome. It was a reactive dog, and she had to climb like 20 something flights of stairs to avoid dogs.
Yeah.
She'd go like at 3 o'clock in the morning to avoid dogs.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's awful.
I cannot do that. So we're going on the elevator. So she had great 6 weeks of progress, and then 1 week was terrible. Okay. And then luckily one day I showed up a little early and I saw her working with the dog, and I saw what she was doing incorrectly.
Okay.
And I was able to remedy it. And everything's been great. Like the dog's actually made friends. He was a dog that couldn't make friends, and then afterwards was able to make friends.
Okay.
She told me, like, you know, on occasion he'll have a moment, but I just correct him. But it's like whatever. Whereas a lot of people think like, well, if the dog knows, they should just not do it. And I
Right.
go, not even humans do that. You know?
And then my other concern, I'm sorry, I have
Oh, you're
all,
fine. Go ahead.
I am concerned, like, I love his personality and I don't want to turn him into a robot.
No, he's not going to be a robot. Everybody says that. Okay, he's not going to be a robot. He's still going to be Finn.
Okay.
Okay, but think of it this way. Think of obedience as you clocking Finn in. Okay, he's under control. So like right now, I'm working. Right, I'm not on my phone texting friends. You know, I'm not here like smoking a doobie. Like I'm having a consultation with you,
Right.
and I'm providing information. But after this consultation, I can do whatever I want.
Right.
I'm off the clock, right? Similar for the dog. It's you have control or you don't have control. There is no in between. Okay, so people like they'll say like, well, Jesse, I want to stop the reactivity and the pulling. I don't need the dog to be real tight to heel, but I just don't want them to lunge and bark. I'm like, well, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
He's either here under control, which prevents all this, right? And then you release him whenever you want. Like, I don't care if he's great off leash. Like, who cares? But you know, it's not this like. The reason for structure is to prevent, you know, misbehaviors. Like that's why we have laws. That's why we have cops and judges and prisons and jails. And even then, some people still commit crimes, right? But we're still who we are, you know, personality-wise. So for the dog, we're not making a robot. Okay, when he's under control, he's under control. If he gets out of line, you correct him, but he's still going to be fit at the end of the day.
Okay.
Okay, and he's not gonna look at you differently in the sense of like he's gonna be like, oh man, mom didn't let me like bark at that dog. You know, like dogs don't think that way.
Okay. So if you were to recommend, okay, here's my other concern just with my schedule. I'm just worried that if we do an in-person, let's say 6 week, because that's what you're recommending. If we do a 6 week, right, I'm not entirely sure I would be able to do weekly.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I work for 9 days in a row, sometimes I work for 12, and so it just, that's my concern with that.
Right. So, we've had people in the past that had rotating schedules. It's not a problem. You know, we can work with it. There might be a point where you're free 1 week and I'm not, you know, so I might not see you for a couple of weeks, but it won't impede your training. Okay. So typically, if I have the ideal case with reactivity, by the end of the first, if not by the first class, by the second class, it's like 70, 80% done. Okay, then it's really just the owner going out and practicing, because addressing reactivity is very simple. Once you have the tools, it's just address the reactivity until it's gone as much as possible. And then the other classes are we're teaching new skills, you know, like the recall. You know, every dog should know come and called, and I mean come and called to the level of if something spooks the crap out of him and he's running for his life, you can still make him come back.
Okay.
Okay. I train for realistic scenarios, and these are scenarios that I've come across throughout my career where owners previously didn't have that control and they lost their dog because of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we play it by ear. You know, if everything's going great, then I go, what else would you like to learn? And you're like, well, I didn't think we'd get this much. How can we learn this? I'm like, sure, here we go. You
That's
know,
above and beyond. I just want to be able to walk him.
yeah, no, that's typically when I come into play, that's most people. Their ceilings here and my ceilings up here because of the tool that I use and the methodology that I use it with.
Okay.
Not every trainer that uses e-collar will get the same results. Okay, this is my niche, and I went to Miami and I studied with Richard Hines, and I specifically chose him because everybody on YouTube that I saw wasn't getting the results, but he was, you know. And then to display this, which is why I've been recording everything and putting on YouTube, because now it's like, crap, I can't even touch the dog now. I know I can do it, but I need proof.
Right.
So the videos allow people to go, just go look it on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's an hour. Okay. So the other thing is, don't worry about how much time, like let's say you only are able to work them 20 minutes a day on your walks. Okay. What matters the most is that you're consistent.
Yeah.
Okay. I've had people travel in and out this, the Chicago, stuff like that, and their schedule's inconsistent, but they are not. Every time they're with their dog in a particular setting and they know their dog, is reactive, they're consistent with what they're doing structurally and obedience wise and discipline wise. But if you one day take them out with the collar and you don't reinforce anything and you let them be a jerk, and the next day you are reinforcing,
then he gets confused. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's my concern, because I wouldn't know, and I know that this is part of the training and you would tell me, I wouldn't know when to correct. If it's like yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is kind of a weird question, but what if it doesn't work? I know that it's this is what you do.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I've had the positive and it didn't work to my goals.
So we are working with an animal, right? There are no guarantees with animals.
Right.
However, if you're doing what I'm telling you to the T, in your case, I don't see why you wouldn't get the results. Okay. When I come in, I give people a minimum maximum to expect. Okay. The maximum that you can expect is you have control over Finn. He's not pulling. You can run with him. He's not reactive. You get your off-leash recall, and then whatever else you may want. Okay. To a degree, depending on like how much time we're investing, right? The minimum would be the obedience stuff. I'm not worried about. Okay. Cause it's obedience. It's mechanical. It's walk at my side and come to me when I call you. The behavior would be the variable. Okay. Is that, and this is very rare. I get maybe 2 to 3 cases a year where the dog is so nutty that the dog won't retain the lesson. Okay. And like I had one guy in particular, he has a pit, I think he was 70, 80-pound pit, lunatic when he saw a dog or sees a dog. And we can stop it. He'll cut the crap. Like you'll see a dog and it's a harsh correction, he'll stop. But then 5 seconds later, here's another dog. And there he goes again, right? So the gentleman is able to stop the reactivity. The dog just won't retain it. Okay. Now, when I get these particular dogs, it's either always been a bully type breed, pit bull, bull terrier, Rottie, that type of breed, or funny enough, blue heelers.
Oh, really?
Yes. I got a stream of blue heelers last year, and their reactivity has been almost just as bad as having like a super reactive pit.
Huh.
And I love pits. I have a pit myself. So I'm not trying to be, like breedist or anything like that.
No, yeah, I understand.
But
I'm married. My husband is also a physician, and right now he's working in Cleveland. So he is not here. He has my other dog. They see each other very rarely, and if it is, it's like for a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be an issue? Does he need to?
Shouldn't be. Yeah, the only way it'd really be an issue is like, let's say you're walking both dogs at the same time, and you got Finn under control and the other dog's not under control, right? Yeah. Maybe because you don't need it because it's a good dog, like they're not reactive. The problem is Finn is going to see that dog pulling, and he's going to go, well, if that dog gets to do it, then I'm going to get to do it too.
Right.
Now, you can have one dog under structure and another dog not under structure, but it's constant work because you're having to kind of go against what Finn sees.
Right.
Like inconsistency. Okay. Ideally, it's across the board, but I've come into homes where one dog was like 10 years old and the other dog's 2, and I'm like, yeah, it's like, whatever. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
Other questions?
I guess so. what is your recommendation, just based on what we've talked about? If like, because I mean, I don't know. So sorry, that's kind of loud.
No, you're fine. When it comes to behavior, my recommendation always is, if possible, do it yourself.
Okay.
Okay. And I mean, and that's me being transparent with you, because I'm turning down more money.
No,
Right. Because life is not black and white, you know. Obedience is black and white. You know, it's very strict in how it's done and stuff, but life is not always going to allow you to like live in that black and white. Yeah. That there's going to be a gray area. And when you do the training yourself, you learn that gray area. You become more fluent.
I know. I think that's what I need, but I'm so anxious about it. Just because.
No, I understand. You know, it's stressful. You know, having a large dog that's reactive, and you're in like, you know, busy Ukrainian village, right? Yeah. Now, in your case, so I will always suggest that people do it themselves. Okay. If it was just obedience, I would say no problem, send him on over. Okay. Now, in your case, because he is friendly off leash, I would say the board and train is also an option for you, because I'm not too worried about behaviorally, how is he going to do? Okay. Because of the fact that he's friendly off leash. Okay. The only thing is, you're not going to get as much insight as you would if, you know, you did it yourself. You're not going to be as fluent with it, because your dog's not like a car. Like, you get in one car going to another car, right? And as one of my clients put it in a testimonial that he did, is like, he said, you know, I prefer this method of verbal instruction. He's like, because I'm learning so much more, because I'm doing everything. He's like, but also my dog is learning my flaws, which was really, because, you know, people aren't trained. You're not a trainer.
Yeah.
Right. Like my staff here is trained by me. I spent a lot of time on them, and they're constantly learning. And I've been doing this for 10 years.
Okay.
So as we come into the picture, right off the bat, we're doing everything right, you know, and it's a very different picture from us and you. So like, the fact that you're doing it kind of resonates, I would say, more deeply with the dog, because it's a relationship. It's you and him, yeah. And you're disciplining him, and you're doing everything from beginning to end.
Yeah. Okay.
But they'd both be an option, but that's just my personal opinion. And you don't have to worry about, you know, being able to meet once a week. Like, we'll do our best. Okay. But there's nothing wrong with time, because it gives you more time to make mistakes. It gives you more time to learn the tool more. So that this way, by the time I see you, like, you come in with a lot of questions, and you're like, I had all these, this worked, this didn't work. What do I do here? What do I do here? Okay.
And then what, like, e-collars? I mean, would I buy that through you? Would I buy it online and wait for it to ship?
Yeah, you get on Amazon. If you're doing the private in-person training, you definitely want to have it prior to training. If you're doing a board and train, we have our own collars here, and you just have to make sure that you have yours by the time you have your follow-up.
Could you like email me which one I should get?
Yeah. So he's 55 pounds.
Yeah, he's like 53, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, don't want to embarrass him now. So
we worked hard for those too fast.
So he technically has two options. Okay. And Maria will send you all this information.
Okay.
One collar is 287 with tax. It's meant for dogs 70 pounds and under.
Okay.
Another collar is 70 pounds and over, and it's 352 with tax. Okay. When I deal with dogs that are reactive, I will tell people, just opt for the higher powered one. So it's like kind of like you rather have it and not need it. The difference is output. Okay. So my number on the higher powered one would be lower when addressing him than it would be on the lower powered collar.
You have more room to go.
Correct. And the numbers are still 127. It's just one stronger at 30 than the other is.
Right, because of the weight.
Correct.
Okay, and then can you just, sorry, I have so many questions. Can you just give me like pricing for both the board and train and then also for the 6 weeks? Or is that something that you'll email me or?
Yeah, Maria will email you. I know that the 6 week is $825. It's 6 in person, and you get 2 Zoom complimentary Zoom sessions for like any FY or kind of a frequently asked question type of stuff. So this way, when we are in person, we're really utilizing that time for the training.
Okay.
Okay. And the 2 weeks she'll send you the information on.
Okay.
I think it's around a couple grand, if not a little bit over.
Yeah.
And you would get in total you would get 6 hours of training, but one of those is a 2-hour session. So it's really like you get 5 lessons with it.
Okay.
Okay.
And then another question, but I think I lost it. Okay. I think. Do you have any more questions for me?
No, I mean, this is pretty typical stuff that I deal with. I'll have Maria send you. We have a training video that I just recorded last week, and it was a 70-pound pit who was human and dog reactive. And when things go beautifully, like that is a great video. And we go up to like 75 with the dog, and I think it'll give you a nice visual of if you did it like yourself, like kind of what to expect.
Okay.
And a reactive pitty and a reactive German Shepherd are very different. Like bully breeds take things to a different degree, especially pitties. So, I'm not too worried about Finn here. And just so that we do, we have the daycare here. We've added in transportation, and then frontline workers get 50% off daycare and standard daycare and boarding.
Okay.
So you pay full price for transportation, but you get 50% off the daycare service.
I mean, I would prefer to have him in a structured daycare, but it's just so hard because sometimes I work 12, 14, 18 hours in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to find a place. But the transportation would be would solve that. So.
Yeah, because we have a lady. Today was her dog's last day for. We also have a daycare and train program, by the way, where the dog comes in standard daycare day, but they do all the training as well. Okay, we just don't keep them overnight. The process would be a little bit slower than a board and train because it depends on how frequently he comes. Yeah. But also it comes with less follow-up. Yeah. Okay.
And if you were to do daycare there, would you guys be able to reinforce the things that you would be able to do that?
Yeah. So I believe, did you just start following me on Instagram?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So yes, when we get dogs that are already trained by us or are training with us, we reinforce everything. Okay. So all the stuff that he learns is being continuously used. And it's a balance of play, plus training, rest time, and then we've added in complimentary pack walks where we do about roughly 4 miles a day, about an hour to hour and a half walk. Which is, I just posted a video like yesterday.
I've seen that. I'm like, my dog will never be able to do that.
Oh yeah, a lot of those dogs are first timers.
Oh wow.
So because we know how to use our training tools, like we don't need to have the e-collar. Like my staff is very well trained that even with the prong collar, they'll get the dog under control in most cases. And all those dogs they're not on e-collars. Some of them were e-collar trained, but some of them were first day dog. We just popped them in the prong collar, did a couple of things, and here we go. Okay. And we've added that into the regular day. So they go home tired.
Yeah. I just thought of my question that I had earlier. Would he, like if I were to take him on a run after he, we've been doing training for a while and he's been improving, would he wear the e-collar on the run?
Good question. And that just reminded me of what a final point here is. The most common question I get is, when does the e-collar go away? Okay. In my book, when you need it, you have it.
Okay.
Okay. So like my dogs have been off-leash trained for 8 years, and they still wear their collars if I feel I'm going to need it.
Okay.
So if I'm going to take them out to Oz Park and they're going to be off-leash, they have it on. Okay, because I can't account for life.
Yeah.
Okay, and if things go south, you want to know that you have control.
Yeah.
Okay, and e-collar is the only tool that can guarantee you that. So like, let's say for the run, it is. I've every dog is different. I've had clients do training with the e-collar and do exactly that. We're like, Jesse, yeah, the dog was reactive, but when I run them now after the training, I don't need it.
Yeah.
But when they're walking, they do need it.
Yeah.
No biggie, right? In other cases, they do have it with them, but the dog's so well trained that it's not that big of a deal to have something in their hand. And now they've made like a new device where like there's even, I think, like a ring thing, you know? So I'd have to look into that. But I don't want you to think that we fix the dog and then you're good to go. Like,
Right. Yeah.
it's a lifestyle, but it's easy. Once you learn it, it's easy. It's not constant work. You know, like again, as humans, we have prisons and judges and cops and all that stuff to keep us in check. So I think of the e-collar as a cop on a collar, essentially. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And then how early can I start? Like, are you full? Like, is there availability soon?
We're rebuilding our clientele. So before COVID, I had like 30 to 40 clients, and then COVID, and we went to 0. Okay, so I'll talk to Maria and tell her that we'll have to be flexible because your schedule's all over the place. But what we've been trying to do is get everybody to meet us at Oz on Saturday and Sunday, because it allows us to fit more people in one day. Because Monday through Friday, I do it like everything. I do transportation, I do the consults, I do the training, I'm training my employees, I'm doing payroll, you know, like I'm doing everything. So to make life easier, we've done that. But in your case, I understand it's different. So if you decided to do in person, it's not an issue. We'll work on that. But Maria would know the answer to that question better than I would.
Awesome. I really appreciate you doing this for me. I'm getting hopeful again. So
yeah. And if you have any doubts, again, you know, just go to my YouTube channel. If you look up Jesse San Miguel or Canine Perspective, it should pop up. And then definitely the lesson ones are the I think the best ones to watch, because if there is any kind of, like, if the dog's nervous and they kind of shut down, you're going to see it the first class. Because that's when it's the worst, right? And in terms of like they've never experienced anything like that before. It's not worse because we're like, you know, blasting the dog.
Yeah.
But it's just completely foreign to them that they're like, what the hell is this?
Do I need to do any pre-work, like put the collar on him so he knows what it feels like, or like do we just go in and start?
The way it's taught, you know, like we just go in, we do it appropriate, start low, work our way up, not just like put down 100 and see what happens. Okay, yeah, I've simplified my training, and I took out what I know works and is effective, and because if it's too much stuff, owners are overwhelmed, and they're either discouraged or they're like, or they don't see the results, you know, because it's not happening as quickly. That they stop, and so I formulated a program that is effective, gets them results right away. We're like, holy crap, this is awesome, and it's motivational for them. Like, I want to keep doing this. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
You taking the time for me.
Yeah. So Maria will get in contact with you. I'll have her send you all that information. And then, you know, he's more than welcome to attend our daycare, and we'd start reinforcing stuff right away. And she'll give you all that info as well, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye.